Breaking Hollywood news insider. The Killing Satoshi pivots over to a brand new title and looks like a little bit of a new theme line. It's going to be called Bitcoin. I'm going to break it down and show you the cast and where things are where things are going right now. Rather exciting. So stay tuned. This is pretty badass. All right, check it out. All right, so for those who don't know me, my name is Gavin Mehl. I have been breaking down the entire overall Bitcoin landscape. I'd say like the more the legal side, starting with the original Kleiman trial, the Kleiman v. Wright trial, and then the COPA v. Wright trial, and the findings of like the Satoshi wallets, what's been happening, kind of like investigative journalist style. And now I'm planning on going to this Las Vegas convention. I'm going to be working. There's going to be a big Bitcoin convention at the end of the month, but I'm going to be trying to cover some of that material as well and get some of the perspective on what those people are finding, because there's two narratives that are coming out. There's a narrative that's based upon the court cases and the laws that have already been precedent that's been set, and that's about going to be called Killing Satoshi, which is now being renamed. And then there's another narrative that's going to be coming out called Finding Satoshi, and that is the counter narrative being pushed by the everyone but Craig Wright crowd. Okay, so that is anyone in the world is Satoshi but Craig Wright is their monolithic. That's their cult, and they're hanging on to that with dear life. For me, it's like I don't understand. I can't other than paid, I can't rationalize why, but it is what it is. Let's break it down. All right, this is today, Breaking Hollywood News, since 2006. This is Deadline.com. According to Andreas Wiseman, Gail Gadot, Wonder Woman, Issa Fisher, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, have joined Casey Affleck and Pete Davidson, Doug Lehman, directing thriller Bitcoin. So it's changed now. Ahead of Canis Market, Patrick 193 is launching sales on the film, which has previously been called Killing Satoshi in online reports, but officially titled Bitcoin. Now, okay, so it's going to be part of the Canis Film Festival founded in 93. Now, so they've revealed the character plots now, right? You got Lehman. He's reconnecting with Affleck, Oscar winner, he's going to be playing Craig Wright. There's like the official drop right there. Boom. He's playing Craig Wright. All right. The duo have previously worked together. Pete Davidson is playing the titan of blockchain himself right there. The man, Calvinaire. Gail Gadot, this is a fictional character, Charlotte Lott Miller. And I'm not sure about this person, but the Charlotte Lott Miller is definitely a fictional character. So film is written by Nick Shank, Gran Torino, and that is also a guy who works at Bodog. He works over there actually at Bodog Fights, and produced by Ryan Kavanaugh, Lawrence Gray, and began production. Production began at the end of February. So the story, basically, the synopsis reads this: Bitcoin, a true story of one man's quest to prove that he is in fact the creator of Bitcoin. A claim that puts his life in peril, sets the global firestorm and wild high-stakes race between the who's who of tech, the billionaires of the world leaders, and the fate of the entire world's financial system hanging on the balance, all leading to the question, why do the world's most powerful people want to erase one man? And why would they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to do it? That's exactly the question I want to know. Why? Why do they hate one man? Why do they want just anybody but him, and they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to do it? That's a very good question I would like answered. So here's the counter psyop that's going on right now. You've got this, the narrative, and this is on X right now. So you've got trending topics on X. I just saw it a second ago. Here it is. Polymarket announces betting market on identity of Satoshi Nakamoto and Finding Satoshi. So they're promoting this other movie right now. Oh, these people never heard of. nobodies. These are a bunch of nobodies like that have ever done anything in their life. And I mean, obviously, Gavin Andresen is the guy he passed the buck to, so it's not him. But these are just random nobodies with no credentials. All right, and then anybody but this guy right here, Craig Wright. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so. I don't mean to be so biased, but it's just laughable the counter psyop that's going on. Is paid opposition. Now here is an important post. I this is the blog I wrote the other day, and Craig Wright co-authored it. So it's basically it talks about the courtroom secrets and everything. Some of the announcements that have been out on the movie that we know so far, and that is, for one, this guy Alan Mizadek is going to be playing Dave Kleiman. That's a big deal because they're going to go through the Kleiman case. Now here's the IMDb, basically what's listed right now. It still says Killing Satoshi, but it's going to change now. This is a fictional character played by this Gal Gadot, who was Wonder Woman. Casey Affleck, badass. I mean, as big as it gets in acting right there. I mean, really, maybe, obviously Brad Pitt's probably the biggest, but I mean, his brother's bigger, but he's huge. He's an Oscar winner. Pete Davidson is like more, I'm not familiar with him personally. I've never seen anything. I've never even heard of him at all. And that's just no offense, but I know he's big. And he's playing the Titan of blockchain, Calvin Ayre. This guy right here, John, Jon, check this out. This guy's likely playing John Matonis. Now, John Matonis wrote the famous blog article in 2016, about how he wrote, basically was a witness to Block 9 and Block 1 being signed by Craig Wright. That's a very highly credentialed journalist with Forbes right here. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying this is how the movies looks like it's going to be playing out. So you got this guy, Forbes. John is likely playing John Matonis. Oh, he's a black guy. Yeah, again, this is a Hollywood movie, dude. All right, so FYI. This is likely Mike Hearn. Mike Hearn, Titan of blockchain, Calvin Ayre. Craig Wright, fictional character, John Matonis, Dave Kleiman. Now, back to the blog. I posted this because it's just a couple of reference points for all the people betting. I mean, again, this is Polymarket. This is about fake psyop. So I would definitely not bet on this because for all they know, they'll probably put Mick Szabo, who's again a nobody, who is zero. The chances are zero, not even 1%. And Adam back, 0%. It's not even 1. These are all 0% chances of being any Satoshi, any of these people. So don't bet on that. It's highly risky. They're all crazy and probably bought out. Because the fact of the matter is that the movie's going to cover the Kleiman trial. Okay, this is what the law says. Again, there's a difference between like fake, psyop stuff and the law. The law says a jury of people in Florida, they reviewed all the evidence after trial, after a bloodbath of like a 3 or 4 year bloodbath and discovery and sanctions and motions and just terror of fraud and corruption and the other side, to finally saying, okay, Craig Wright, you get to keep the crypto billions from all those early mining blocks, the 1.1 million Bitcoins. You keep the rights to that. Ultimately, this Times article does a really good job of just kind of breaking it down for the simple person without having to read a million pages of court documents. Another famous piece right here is the Guardian. The Guardian News, Guardian.com. Spam right here. Australian man's going to keep his Bitcoin fortune worth billions. So the ruling is explicitly clear. That's what happened. So of course these people betting in Polymarket are just delusional. And that's really, I think, it sounds like what the movie's going to be talking about. The question that's going to be asked. Why? It's really, this is the high stake. The synopsis reads, Bitcoin is a true story of one man's quest to prove that he is in fact the creator of Bitcoin. A claim that puts his life in peril and sets off a global firestorm in a wild, high-stakes race between the who's who of tech, billionaires, and world leaders, with the fate of the world's entire financial system hanging in the balance, all leading to the question, why do the world's most powerful people in the why do the world's most powerful people want to erase one man, and why would they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to do it? And that's COPA. Because remember, COPA was Crypto Open Patent Alliance. You got originally it was Zuckerberg and Facebook, Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy. You've had Jack Dorsey, he was with Twitter, and all these giant, all came together to bring the patents together and share all their, basically, most of them were pretty much useless patents. They had no value or they were all late to the game. So they brought those together saying they were going to share them to attack the one guy with all the patents. The intellectual property portfolio, is what triggered a lot of this, I think, because you got a $500+ million intellectual property portfolio that was all mostly written by Dr. Wright. And now it's controlled by Calvin Air, N-Chain. And the N-Chain, well, I'm not sure if it's N-Chain. Anyways, it's controlled by Calvin Air Ventures. And that's what they were after, because that was creating major problems in what they're doing. And they're just concerned as to who's going to get sued and when, what's going to happen. So they did that lawsuit and they sued Craig, and that's how it all kind of started unfolding. But now the Killing Satoshi narrative, my theory is that Craig is like a well-calculated, highly autistic savant on another level, beyond polymath to another level. So he's like thinking this through multi-steps, thinking like, okay, if I lose the case, where do I go? If I win the case, where do I go? And these are probably his own secret private plans, which he hasn't told me or anybody else. I don't know. He never told me any of this. I'm just speculating. But the way I speculated what happened is that he planned out, he's thinking, okay, because any high-level legal strategy, you do this. This is just the way it works. I love this sort of thing. You got to think your angles through. And when you're in court and you're in a legal battle, you're always thinking worst case scenario. You don't think best. You always think negative. So in a worst case scenario situation, he's planning it out and he's thinking, okay, I lose the case. I'm not Satoshi. The court says all these things that I don't get the rights to the white paper. What is the next narrative? Killing Satoshi. I'll take immunity. Craig's thinking, I'll take immunity. I'm not going to be responsible for any of the downfall of BTC. And I will have no liability to go with Satoshi. If there's an indictment against Satoshi Nakamoto, it won't fall on me. That's my benefit. That's what he's thinking. And so then we'll roll out this counter narrative in the film, Killing Satoshi. But now it's spinning to Bitcoin. Cool. It changes things a little bit, I think, in my approach on like marketing side, because I was going to run with this Killing Satoshi narrative. Now it's like, all right, cool, Bitcoin. Very general, very narrative, very neutral, Bitcoin. People are probably still going to watch it. All comes down to marketing. If there's a freaking 7-figure marketing budget behind it, it's going to get out there. Netflix, it's going to get out there. Amazon, I would hope. I mean, I don't know how it works on those things, but I hope it does. It needs to get in other theaters, not just Cannes film. I'm not sure I'm going to look into what it is, but apparently it's a film festival. I hope it's big. And if it is, either way, it's going to be a lot bigger than this counter psyop movie, Finding Satoshi. So bottom line, hit the ones. I want to just kind of give an update on this. Check it out. The real story behind Killing Satoshi. This is the most exciting story in all of crypto, Bitcoin ever history. My name is Gavin Mehl. More to come. I am going to do a media access pass going to the Las Vegas convention. At least I'm going to apply. Don't know if I'll get in yet. I'm likely, I got sponsorship to go, but I'd like to get the media pass, the press pass, so I can get in there, do shows. I'd like to get ideally like to get Eric Trump, of course. That would be the dream. I need to talk about some of the political stuff as well in another video, but Saylor, I want to get a show with Saylor. I want to challenge him to a debate with Craig Wright. That would be freaking amazing. Hey, you guys know about Bitcoin. You're experts. You're supposed to be the best. Let's get a show with the one guy who, why not? Let's do it. I'll host it. You want to get a lot of views? You want to get a lot of traction? You want to make it, let's do it. We'll make it big, huge. Why not? So anyways, check it out. Killing Satoshi now rebrands as Bitcoin. All right. John Matonis looks like he's cast. Dave Kleiman, he's cast. Calvin Ayre's cast. Craig Wright, of course, is now announced officially by Casey Affleck. It's going down. I'll see you at the top of the ones later.